Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space, and Learning Space heartily welcomes each one of you for this exclusive series of 100 modules. As already announced, this revision series is bifurcated into national events, international events, brainstorming, S&T, ecology, like that. And friends, these 100 modules will be spread over right up to May 9th. And at the same time, you may have a pertinent doubt. How do I benefit because of these modules? I can assure you, you will get crystal clear clarity on various aspects. Second, you will be enriched, you will be empowered, which will be essential to attempt an examination like civil services. With these words, let us move on. We are going to look at 20 events. Right friends, the first one, minimum ecological flow. All of you are familiar. The Union Ministry of Environment that stipulated minimum ecological flow norms up to certain stretch of river Ganges. Please don't forget. In this context, what are the types of questions expected in the prelims? And students should have clarity. Who monitors the flow? Very important. Central Water Commission monitors the flow. And next important aspect, how much time is given for the projects which require modifications? Very important. 3 years time is given for the projects which require design modifications to ensure minimum ecological flow. Next important aspect is violating the norms can mean closure of the project or hefty fine can be imposed. Why are we discussing this? Because of the simple reason, as per the news report, these 4 projects are yet to comply the e-flow norms. Friends, these 4 projects, sometimes potential question from your prelims perspective. One is Maneri Bhali phase 2. This is on the river Bhagirathi, and Vishnuprayag and Srinagar. These projects are on Alkananda, then Pashulok on the Ganga main stem. Please don't forget, these are Bhagirathi, Alkananda. These are tributaries of Ganga. Please don't forget. So friends, sometimes this may be important. And with regard to e-flow norms, how much percentage is stipulated? Just have a glance at it. And these are stipulated from the origins in the glaciers right up to Haridwar. Please don't forget. And 20%, 25%, 30%, depending on the season. Just go through this paragraph, important, right? Let us move on to the second one. Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Friends, the important acts, then policies and programs, we are dealing in a separate series, but such type of issues we are dealing through the national events, because here you see Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. All of you are familiar. There are certain issues associated with this Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. So to explain those things I have taken here, but the important acts, they will be tackled through acts, policies and programs. Friends, please don't forget National Food Security Act that makes entitlement of maternity benefits of rupees 6,000. Friends, how many installments about Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana? Friends, 5,000 rupees are given in 3 installments, and when this money is given, that is also stipulated. That may not be that important, but friends, 6,000 rupees is as per National Food Security Act. Please don't forget. Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, 5,000 rupees is being given in 3 installments, and subsequently 1,000 rupees will be given. So if you calculate, this entire 6,000 comes in 4 installments. Very, very important. Next is, it is being given to the first living child of the family. So these are the important aspects. But as per the National Food Security Act, it is clearly mentioned every pregnant woman is entitled to maternity benefits of rupees 6,000. Look at the next one. India is the 3rd largest consumer of crude oil. Please don't forget, we are dependent on imports for around 84%. Friends, from your preliminary perspective, please don't forget, the goal of the government is to reduce import dependence on crude oil by 10% by 2022, but unfortunately the import dependency is increasing. This is the most important point from your prelims perspective. So friends, import dependency is at present around 84%, and the next important aspect is import dependency is increasing. This is one important thing. Then the next one is India is the fourth largest oil refiner. Friends, third largest consumer of crude oil, fourth largest oil refiner. In this context, let me tell you very important point of strategic petroleum reserves. India created strategic petroleum reserves at Padur and Mangaluru in Karnataka, Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, and that will take care of 10 days. That means if disruption takes place, they will take care of 10 days of India's requirements. Friends, government also approved creating another 12 days storage at Padur in Karnataka, and the next place is Chandikol in Odisha. Please don't forget. And just have a glance at it. Strait of Hormuz is quite often in the news. Why? Because of the tensions between Iran and United States of America. Strait of Hormuz, please don't forget, it connects Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman. Very important. This is Persian Gulf. This is Gulf of Oman. So this Strait of Hormuz connects Persian Gulf with Gulf of Oman. Please do not forget, this Strait of Hormuz is situated between on one side Iran and on the other side UAE and the enclave of Oman. Enclave of Oman is situated here, and by the side it is UAE. So therefore, please keep in mind, sometimes a critical question may be asked with regard to Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz connects Persian Gulf and this Gulf of Oman. That is one aspect. And the next important aspect is on one side Iran and on the other side this is enclave of Oman and UAE, right? And friends, here one important aspect is hope. This is Hormuz peace endeavor. This was in fact proposed by Iran because of escalating tensions in this Strait of Hormuz. One very important aspect from Indian perspective, here 2/3 of oil and half of LNG India imports comes via this strait. Very important. Friends, here 2/3 of oil and half of liquefied natural gas which India imports passes through Strait of Hormuz. This is the important aspect. In this context, students should also have clarity with regard to International Energy Agency. International Energy Agency is quite often in the news. It is situated in Paris, don't forget. Two things I would like to tell you. One is, India is not a member. India is at present associate member of International Energy Agency, and to become a member, two things are to be satisfied. One is the country should be a member of OECD, and 90 days of the previous year's net imports, that reserves must be maintained by the country, both including commercial reserves and strategic reserves put together. The country should maintain 90 days. This may not be that important, but one thing is India is associate member, please don't forget. Then Indonesia is the world's largest palm oil producer. This is into the news because unofficially India imposed ban on imports from Malaysia in recent times. Friends, in this context, students should have clarity with regard to 2-3 important things about palm oil. Palm oil is quite often in the news. Palm oil is the tropical oil and it is primarily grown around the equator. That means 10 degrees north or south of the equator. And next important aspect is 80% of the palm oil production comes from Indonesia and Malaysia in the world. This is the important aspect, Indonesia and Malaysia. If you see from other perspective here, India is the world's largest importer of palm oil as well as edible oil. This is the important aspect, don't forget, right? And all of you are familiar, our domestic production of edible oil is around 10 million tons. And we are importing 15 million tons of edible oil. Out of 15 million tons of edible oil, this 9 million tons comprises palm oil. At present, Indonesia is the largest supplier of palm oil to India. Friends, vegetable oil, this is the largest agricultural commodity imported into the country. We learned a number of times. First ever bamboo industrial park. Please don't forget when somebody is talking about the Sela Tunnel. Sela Tunnel is proposed to give all-weather connectivity to Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh. Don't forget. Then friends, here please do not forget first ever bamboo industrial park in Northeast, that is coming up in Assam, don't forget. And if you look at National Sports University, that is coming up in Manipur, very important from your prelims perspective. Then it is the first and only central university focusing on sports education, very important. At the same time, don't forget Hollungi Airport, that is coming up in Arunachal Pradesh. It is the greenfield airport basically to serve the capital of Arunachal Pradesh, right? It is 14 kilometers from Itanagar. Hollungi Airport, Sela Tunnel, Sports University, first ever bamboo industrial park in Northeast. These things please don't forget. These are recently into the news. Look at the next one. There are 6 languages enjoying classical language status. Friends, classical language is into the news in recent times. In this context, students should understand 3-4 important aspects. One is the Tamil is the first language identified as classical language. And next important aspect is all 4 major Dravidian languages, they got classical language status, right? Other than 4 major Dravidian languages, the other 2 languages are Sanskrit and Odia. This is very important from your prelims perspective. And what are the guidelines? I need not explain. Most of you are familiar with. Just have a glance at this paragraph. Look at the next one. From Indian perspective, Indo-Pacific. Quite often we talk about Indo-Pacific. What is the exact definition of Indo-Pacific from the Indian perspective? From Indian perspective, Indo-Pacific definition is from the east coast of Africa to the American west coast, very important. But US National Energy Security Strategy, that defines Indo-Pacific from the west coast of India to the west coast of the United States. But friends, from your preliminary perspective, if a question is asked on the Indo-Pacific, please do not forget that is between the east coast of Africa right up to American west coast. Look at the next one. India is exporting on average around 9 million tons of cereals here every year since 2000. Very, very important. Friends, we are self-sufficient and we are exporting cereals. That is the important aspect. Around 9 million tons of cereals are being exported. This is one important aspect. And in this context, with regard to the food grains, we are going to deliberate in the brainstorming of editorials in detail with regard to various food grains. And now for the time being, let us limit our discussion here. And one more important aspect is, as per the available statistics here, per capita availability of cereals that increased since 1970, right, and increased to now 158 kg per capita. But one thing which is seen in recent times is the per capita consumption that reduced. So these 2 things are very important when one looks at cereals. The per capita availability increased, whereas per capita consumption decreased. These are the important aspects. Have a glance at this. By 2027, as per World Population Prospects 2019 by the United Nations, India is going to overtake Chinese population by 2027, right? It may not be that important, but just have a glance at it. For the first time, the population of 65 plus age group across the world, that crossed the population of under 5 years. So friends, previously under 5 population used to be high, but now 65 plus population, that has overtaken this under 5 years population, right? In this context, just have a glance at it. In the northeastern part of the country, with regard to the populations as per 2011 census, just have a glance at it. Tripura is the most populous state in northeast after Assam, followed by Meghalaya, Manipur, Nagaland. And if you look at Sikkim, its population is just around 6 lakh, please don't forget. Friends, remaining aspects we will discuss in the brainstorming. Look at the next one. Quite often you talk about bilateral trade and investment agreement. Friends, BTIA. BTIA is the proposed free trade agreement between India and European Union. It is proposed to be trade and investment agreement, please don't forget, but it is not successful till now. You see, it was proposed in 2007 and subsequently it is off and on, several attempts have been made, but 13 years completed, not much success as far as deliberations are concerned. Friends, if you see European Union as a group, it is the India's largest trading partner in 2018-19. Friends, we deliberated that if you see individual country, please don't forget, if you see individual country, United States of America is the largest trading partner. Second comes China, right? Closely behind you can say is China. So friends, USA is the largest trading partner individually as a country. China is number 2, don't forget. Look at the next one. Globally, soybean and maize, these are the topmost transgenic crops. Transgenic crops are quite often in the news. Why they are into the news? Because of the illegal cultivation of herbicide tolerant cotton. Friends, you may have a doubt. When the farmer is cultivating illegally transgenic crops, then what Indian law says? Indian law, just have a glance at it. Illegal cultivation of transgenic crops, very important. Illegal cultivation of transgenic crops that attracts imprisonment up to 5 years and fine up to rupees 1 lakh under the Environment Protection Act, very important. It also attracts punishments under the Seeds Act of 1966. Friends, this point is very important. And if you look at the genetically modified crops across the globe, please do not forget, prominently they are grown in North America and South America. Important countries are USA, Brazil, Argentina and Canada. Please do not forget. Most of the European countries do not allow transgenic crops. And friends, here if you look at the area under biotic crops, just have a glance at it. Soybean and maize, these two are the prominently grown transgenic crops. All of you are familiar. India allows only cotton, right? And just have a glance at it. The share of manufacturing sector in overall GDP is almost stagnant at around 16-17%. Very important from your prelims perspective. After the economic liberalization, you can say one of the major failures as far as Indian economy is concerned is with regard to increasing the share of the manufacturing. Friends, we could not do that. It is hovering around 16-17% of India's GDP. Friends, two things I would like to tell you from your prelims perspective. One is the goal of India is to increase the contribution of the manufacturing sector to overall GDP to 25% by 2025. Please keep in mind, after liberalization, the share of the manufacturing hovering around 16-17%, its contribution not increased. There may be minor increase, but it is hovering around 16-17%. The goal of India is to take it to 25% by 2025. Very important from your exam perspective. Friends, government is giving thrust to Make in India, and government recently increased import tariffs. Right, friends, why government increased import tariffs? Government increased import tariffs so as to give thrust to Make in India, and this is the concept. Please don't forget from your prelims perspective, import substitution. What is the meaning of it? The substitution of the imports with domestic manufacturing. But friends, from your prelims perspective, import substitution strategy after independence has not given successful result till now. Right friends? There are several national irrigation projects in the country. From your exam perspective, these are important friends. Please don't forget Polavaram irrigation project. This is the national project. Here whatever mentioned here, these are all national projects. National projects means center gives 90% of the money. This is the important aspect. Friends, Polavaram project is being given prominence subsequent to the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And friends, Ghosikurt irrigation project, please don't forget, most important. It is also in Godavari river basin. It is on river Vainganga in Maharashtra, don't forget. It is also known as Indira Sagar irrigation project in Maharashtra. It is on Vainganga river. Vainganga river is the tributary of Godavari river, don't forget. Friends, these are all national projects. Then Saryu Nahar Pariyojana. It is in Uttar Pradesh and it interlinks 5 rivers, don't forget. And just have a glance at these rivers. And Shapur Kandi Dam project. It is planned on Ravi river. Where is this Ravi river? Or you can say, where is this project is proposed? In the state of Punjab, don't forget. And at the same time, this news item is most important. Here, this is with regard to Renukaji Dam Multipurpose Project. Please don't forget, Renukaji Dam Multipurpose Project is in the Upper Yamuna Basin. 6 states including Delhi signed an agreement. It is also national project. Center gives 90%. But critically speaking, from your prelims perspective, please don't forget, it includes Lakwar project on river Yamuna in Uttarakhand. Similarly, Kishav on river Tons as well as Renukaji on river Giri. Friends, these 3 put together is Renukaji Dam Multipurpose Project. Please don't forget. At the same time, one thing students should have clarity, that is Tons and Giri. These are the tributaries of Yamuna river, don't forget. Right friends? Lakwar project. This is on river Yamuna in Uttarakhand. Kishav. This is on Tons river in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Renukaji, that is on river Giri in Himachal Pradesh, don't forget. This is most important from your prelims perspective. Friends, please don't forget, Government of India renamed 3 islands of Andaman group. Friends, what are these? Basically, this Ross Island, please have a glance at it. That is nearer to Port Blair. Ross Island, sometimes these islands locations may also be important from your prelims perspective. This Ross Island is situated close to Port Blair. Then this is Neil Island and this is Havelock Island. So friends, these islands are named. Havelock Island is Swaraj Dweep, Shahid Dweep is Neil Island, and Subhash Chandra Bose Dweep is Ross Island. Please don't forget. Friends, British colonized these islands since 1858, but during World War II, Japanese occupied the islands as allies of Indian National Army. Right? So it is to commemorate Netaji's visit to the Andaman as the commander of Azad Hind Fauj in 1943. Right friends? Juvenile Justice Board. It is quite often in the news. Friends, Juvenile Justice Board constituted by the state governments, don't forget. Friends, from your exam perspective, 3-4 things please don't forget. Here, board should consist of Juvenile Justice Board. What is the composition? Composition is, it should consist of Metropolitan Magistrate or Judicial Magistrate with at least 3 years experience, and in addition to that, it should have 2 social workers, most important. Out of the 2 social workers, 1 must be woman. Please remember this, very very important. Juvenile Justice Board, this is constituted by the state governments. Here, Juvenile Justice Board composition is Metropolitan Magistrate or a Judicial Magistrate with at least 3 years experience with 2 social workers. 1 must be woman. Then another important aspect is a juvenile, that means below 18 years of age. he must be placed before the Juvenile Justice Board within 24 hours, very, very important. Then the board should make at least one inspection visit every month of residential facilities where children are kept. Right, friends? Here these are important points. Next one is centrifuges are used in the enrichment of uranium. Please don't forget. Friends, this is into the news because of Iran. USA came out of Iran nuclear deal. In this context, quite often you come across these centrifuges, and if you look at the centrifuges, they are used to convert this U-238 to U-235. Natural uranium constitutes more than 99% of U-238. What is required is you require U-235. Friends, to increase the U-235 component, these centrifuges are used, right? And with regard to further aspects and what is the science behind it, we are going to deliberate in the S&T module, right? From your prelims perspective, please don't forget here, for a nuclear reactor, U-235 component, or you can say enrichment, can go up to 20%, or you can say the uranium needs to be enriched so that up to 20% is U-235. Friends, to make atomic weapons, this has to go up to 80 or 90%, please don't forget. Right, friends, these are the centrifuges, don't forget. Indian Coast Guard. And Indian Coast Guard, what is the role as far as oil spill is concerned? Friends, it is responsible for marine environment, and it is the coordinating authority for the oil spills. That means when ships travel, then oil spills are bound to occur. So friends, when such type of oil spills occur, then which is the national agency? National agency is Indian Coast Guard, please don't forget. And it has also drawn up National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan, please don't forget. So when people are talking about National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan, it is the initiative of Indian Coast Guard, don't forget. Friends, now what is the share of natural gas in the energy mix? The share of natural gas in the energy mix is at present 6%, please don't forget. What is the goal of the government? Goal of the government is to increase it to 15% by 2030, please don't forget. At the same time, this is ethanol blending in petrol. Quite often we talk about ethanol blending in petrol. What is the target? It is 10% by 2022. And another important aspect is, in recent times, ethanol blending in petrol, that is taking off well. And another important aspect is the government allowed direct manufacture of ethanol from sugarcane juice directly. Now the mills can manufacture the ethanol from the sugarcane juice. Friends, last 2 years when you look at it, 2017-18, 2018-19, we have surplus sugar production. So when sugar stocks are increasing, government took the decision of allowing direct ethanol from the sugarcane juice. Right, friends? Whatever the reason, in recent times, ethanol blending of petrol, that is increasing, right? And 10% by 2022, 30% by 2030, and another target, please don't forget, government plans to blend 5% of biodiesel in diesel by 2030. These are, friends, most important from your prelims perspective. Right, friends, with these, let us conclude today's national events and give your critical appraisal, because Learning Space is here to take all your comments. Right, friends? Have a nice day. Thank you.